Thank you for joining me for this episode of God Talk. And in this episode of God Talk, we're going to talk about a word you probably haven't heard before, ubiquitous. It is the word of the day, ubiquitous. But we're going to talk about ubiquitous evil. First of all, I want to apologize that I am wearing the same shirt that I recorded in last week. I actually have more than a handful of shirts. I probably have 200 shirts. I have more shirts than any guy I know. But for some reason, I'm wearing the same shirt I was a week ago, and I wasn't even planning on recording today, but I've been up since 1:30 this morning, so I came in the office and thought, I think I'm going to record on Wednesday. That note aside, I apologize. I do recognize it's the same shirt as last week, so if you're watching back to back, I'll make sure to have a different one on next week. All right, that is different than the topic we're talking about today, ubiquitous evil. What is that word, ubiquitous? It is something that is everywhere, all present, like surrounding, encompassing everything. And evil's much that way. Now, the reason I'm doing this podcast this week is because yesterday in Bible class, someone mentioned that Massachusetts just passed a law that basically allowed abortion up to the time of birth. I believe New York's had that law for a few years. And he said, I didn't verify this, but probably true, that they're the 10th state that basically allows abortion up to birth. And I have to tell you, like, that is part of ubiquitous evil. That abortion of any kind is evil. It's unfathomable that basically you can kill a baby that is full term being born. It's all unfathomable. But how do you do that? It's one thing when a mom can't see the baby. It's one thing when they're saying, it's just a bunch of, dividing cells at this point or something. Like, listen, it's wrong there too. Don't get me wrong. It's just that much more personal when you would kill a baby up to the point of being fully developed, fully functional. You're looking at the baby being born and you can still abort the baby. That's just evil. And I have to tell you, like, the whole world in which we live is evil because we allow that. And shame on us as Christians, because there's godly people in Massachusetts that should be taken to the streets and saying, no way, no how. There's godly people in the 9 other states that should be doing the same thing. But you know what the problem is with Christians? We don't stand for anything. We do to ourselves. We hold feelings. We're brave enough to put a post on Facebook, but we're not brave enough to get out there in the town square to get out and vote, to speak the truth in the workplace and in our community, and try to, like, reshape reality and what is evil. That is clearly evil. And the fact that as a society we can't understand that's evil, that tells us that there is ubiquitous evil in this world. It's all encompassing. It's all around us. Now, last Sunday, I was preaching about the fear of death. And I talked about how if you fear death, either you like life too much or you don't really believe 100% that there's heaven or that you're going there. And one of the passages I use to kind of refute this kind of love that we have for this world is from 1 John 5:19, and it says this: we know that we are children of God and that the whole world is under the control of the evil one. And I kind of thought I would get a little pushback on this because I was pretty clear in what that means, that the whole world is under the influence of the evil one. It's ubiquitous evil. And I said, we can all get behind my job's evil. Everyone thinks their work's evil, right? Your boss. Some of you might have good bosses. I know people around here, they have a great boss. But our work, a lot of times we think is evil. The government, I mean, that goes without saying. And honestly, it is evil. And we see it in Massachusetts. Our neighbors. I went as far as to say the person sitting next to you. I kind of thought I'd get a little pushback on that. And it would have been a little bit well deserved, but it's also true what I said. But we have to pay attention to the first part of this passage too. And it says, we are the children of God. We are the children of God. And so we shouldn't be evil. This ubiquitous evil that's around us should not be part of us. But the reality is, it is. We live in this tension. Martin Luther talked about a saint and sinner at the same time, right? So we're not evil, but sometimes we certainly act as evil, right? Saint and sinner simultaneously at the same time. Paul talks about it. Paul talks about it. The good that I want to do, I don't do, but the evil I don't want to do, that I keep on doing. What a wretched sinner I am, right? Ubiquitous evil. It's even all around us. It's around the people that we love and care about. And like in the passage from 1 John, you see the tension. Children of God, but the whole world is under the influence of the evil one. Now, this is important because I think we look at life as, well, there's good and there's bad. There's good and there's evil. Well, there's some truth to that, but your eyes will be really open when you realize that there's ubiquitous evil in this world. It's all around us, that the whole world is under the control of the evil one. Then that begins to impact how we see the things that go on around us, how we see ourselves, how we see reality. Because if we fall into the illusion that this is good, this is maybe really bad, and then there's this like scale in the middle, that's not reality. The whole world is under the control of the evil one. That's the only way that you get states and countries that somehow allow and think it's a good idea to be able to abort children at all, let alone up to the time of birth. Now, here's what I want you to kind of consider. Consider your work ethic. What does ubiquitous evil look like with your work ethic? Well, you can be lazy at work, right? You can just be collecting a paycheck. You can be just going through the motions. That's evil. We should be doing it as if we're doing it for the Lord. I talk to pastors all the time that just kind of consider, hey, when can I retire? Or if they got a better paying job, they would leave ministry in a second. I'm sorry, that's evil. We're called by God into the ministry. Now, when God calls you out of it, that's not evil because he's calling you out of it. If he's called you into it, you don't go out of it. If he's called you into a relationship, you don't go out of it. Whatever he calls us to, we don't get to decide when we're done with it, right? But we process it. Hey, I'm old enough, I can retire. Or I might be done with this relationship or whatever. And the reason we do that is because of ubiquitous evil, that this whole world is influenced by and surrounded by evil. And it impacts how we think. It impacts how we process, how we order our lives. Think about character development. How does ubiquitous evil impact character development? I think a lot of us kind of can plateau. Maybe we're the same person we were 15, 20 years ago. Like, should it be that way? As we're growing in our faith in Jesus Christ, can we stay the same? I was at part of a Bible class a couple months ago, and good for this guy. I mean, he had the courage to say he hasn't changed at all over the last 15, 20 years. I mean, everyone else is like, yeah, they've changed. This person said that they haven't. That can't be. As we seek to follow God, we should be changing who we are, our maturity, our character development. But ubiquitous evil tries to maybe cause us to revert or to not grow. What I'm trying to get you to see, everything around you, whoever you interact, even with yourself, there's ubiquitous evil. See the evil. Have eyes to evil. The more eyes you have to see evil, the less likely you're going to be influenced by it. Because it's going to be all around us. We're going to have that tension in ourselves, but we have to learn to recognize it. Think about how important it is to get in shape. I was having this conversation with a friend of mine who has been really like just working out, getting in shape, and for him in his mind, he was talking about that this actually makes him stronger in his fight against the enemy. And I think the concept is treating his body as a temple of the Lord and so forth. Good. I mean, I hope that he's able to do that. For me, and I think for most, there's a different challenge. As we get into shape, we're like, man, I can run a lot faster now. I'm a lot stronger now. Wow, I look better, right? As we seek to improve ourselves physically, what do we start doing? We start thinking of ourselves more often physically, and that's not a good thing. That's called vanity. And that leads to a lot of bad things. But that's just part of ubiquitous evil. You're doing something good. You're doing something you should. Your body's a temple of the Lord. God calls you to be a steward of it. You're doing what you should. But ubiquitous evil is that Satan's going to take that because the whole world is under the influence of the evil one, and he's going to twist it, and he's going to try to turn it into bad. Our good deeds. When we do good deeds, we can start thinking, you know what? I'm a pretty good person. Once again, like God calls us to do good deeds. I'm not saying don't do good deeds. What I'm saying is ubiquitous evil is that when you do good deeds, the temptation is you're going to think that you're pretty good. You're better than most. You're certainly better than that jackwagon of a neighbor of yours or something like that, right? This is where our mind goes. I had someone just the other day, he complimented me. He complimented me on the influence I've been in his life, how much I've helped him grow in his faith. And then he was complimenting on my speaking ability. And as always, I usually respond, I'm not sure about that. And I know people that say, oh, that's just a false humility. Shut up. It's not a false humility. It's not at all. He came kind of back at me and he challenged me to be able to receive those compliments. And what I said to him, and this is truth, and this isn't a false humility, this is true. I said, I very much appreciate hearing that. I very much appreciate your compliments. I very much appreciate being told it was a good message, or I'm a good speaker, I'm a good teacher. But the second I start believing that about myself, now I have to battle pride. So I need to hear that so I can be validated. I need to hear that so I know I didn't like just drop a stinker up there. I don't want someone to be like, I am never going to get those 40 minutes back that Pastor Greg just took from me today. I have too much pride that I don't want that to be the case. So I need to hear, I want to hear that I'm doing well and I'm being effective, but I will never allow myself to believe that because first of all, I can always do better. And second of all, when I start believing that, now ubiquitous evil begins to do a bad work in me, and I'm not going to give the devil that foothold. So, you know what? I don't want to hear this false humility crud. That's not like false humility. It's making sure that I stay humble when there's many opportunities in life for all of us to maybe not be so humble. When I'm thinking about ubiquitous evil and just trying to navigate how to be a God-fearing person in a world that is surrounded by and encompassed with evil, two passages came to my mind, a passage, and it's also a passage, but a prayer. The first is Psalm 25, 4-5. It says, show me your ways, Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth and teach me. Show me your ways, Lord. Teach me your paths. Guide me in your truth, right? Like we are surrounded by evil, but Lord God, please, like open my eyes to evil, open my ears to evil. Let me see it. Let me flee from it. Let me not embrace it. Teach me your ways, O Lord, so that I might walk in your truth. And then the other passage that came to my mind, also not just a passage, but a prayer, a part of the Lord's Prayer. Lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from evil. You see, these are what we need to be reflecting upon. These are what we need to be praying upon to God, that he would lead us not into temptation, that he would deliver us from evil. Why? Because we live in a world, an evil world, ubiquitous evil. The prince of this world, Satan, is prowling around seeking to devour all of us. He will take the good that we do. He'll twist it and make it bad. He will cause us to look at the person we're talking to, maybe the good friend, the person that maybe we're doing business with, and we'll think that like everything is great about that conversation, that relationship. But what we don't see is like it's surrounded and encased in evil, trying to get at us, trying to ruin us, trying to ruin that conversation, trying to ruin that other person. And so know that it is all around you. If you're walking through a very dangerous neighborhood, you are going to be on alert, because you know that at any point someone could be following you. Someone might be around that corner. You walk with haste. You walk with diligence. You walk with intentionality, right? And purpose, because you realize that your life is in danger. This is how we must go through life as Christians. We are children of God, right? But the whole world is under the control of the evil one, ubiquitous evil. Thank you for joining me for this episode of God Talk, and I look forward to talking to you again next week. God bless.